Hi, I'm Andrew Brown. You're watching the first YPG video podcast. So what's the show going to be about? Well, in our first episode, we're focusing on getting ahead and leadership in IT. So we have a skeleton of a show. I'm not sure how it's going to work. We're here tonight at the Institute of Directors. What better place than to start our podcast on leadership? So why have we come here tonight? Well, we've come here tonight because the BCS is hosting a dinner for the trustees and council members, and we're going to track some of them down and ask them to do some interviews on how they think you can best get ahead. So while we go and track some of them down, why don't you take a look at these clips?
I believe the most important thing for getting ahead is knowing what you want.
My advice for getting ahead is to get involved, really research the company you want to join.
My advice would be to always remember that it's fine to ask others for help.
My advice for getting ahead is always tell the truth, because if you don't, you're going to find it very hard to be promoted above your colleagues.
You need to tune into what you want and just go for it.
My one big tip to get ahead in IT is to secure a good education.
The majority of people out there, they're kind of quite happy to sit on the back seat or sit on the fence and kind of like go with the flow. So I think the leader is the person that says, actually, this is the direction that we should go. But they don't necessarily say, right, you know, I'm right, this is the way we should go and that's what we're going to do. They have the ability to listen, which I think is quite a key attribute of a leader.
I think a leader who can really present well, someone who can go out there in front of thousands of people and deliver a message to those people. That's probably one of the most powerful things that a person can do.
IT as a division, if you like, is ceasing to become that. It's becoming more tightly integrated with the business. So I think leaders in IT need to reflect that, and in fact, everyone in IT really need to have a greater awareness of the business and ability to understand the business processes, such that in the future we'll cease to talk about an IT department and it will simply be an automatic part of the business as a whole.
People are a big resource and they're really important. If you don't take care of your people, then what have you got? So
you join the military at an early age, and you put on sort of different courses and stuff like that to manage young soldiers, that sort of thing. And then as you get promoted within the military, you tend to have to go on lots of different courses, and they install into you a leadership quality. So I think one of the major problems you have in a civilian environment is that the manager generally gets promoted because they are good at their job and maybe they don't quite possess the leadership qualities that you might have, say, like from a military background. So
the person who's aiming to be a leader, I believe, should be like a transformational leader. He need not be like born with a leader trait or something. Anyone can become a leader. I believe strongly in that. It's just the way they want to grow.
So, I mean, in a life and death situation, it's completely different than sat in an office with a bunch of consultants and that sort of thing. So I think you have to put things into perspective, and I mean that's quite key. I mean, a leadership or a leader needs to be able to put things into perspective. And
you can't expect that you've done everything, you know it all. You've got to listen to people. People will advise you, see what everyone else has gone through and pick each and every bit of it and understand it. And make yourself a better person.
I believe that a leader isn't born a leader. I don't think we're born. I mean, some people may be better at it than others. They may have better communication skills, for example. But I truly believe that leaders, you can work to become a leader.
I think a lot of leadership is about bringing other people into believing what they can do.
I'm here this evening with Steve Furber, who's the Vice President of the Learner Society and Knowledge Services in the BCS. Steve, my question to you this evening is, if you were going to give a tip for someone to stay ahead in their career in the current climate, where employability is a little bit of a contentious subject, what would that tip be to young professionals?
I think from my experience, the key thing is to keep as many doors open as possible. So again, it's about being very good at what you do. But also keeping an eye on where the opportunities are outside. So, for instance, when I was working at Acorn, I worked hard to write a book because I felt an academic career was an interesting possible future option. I had no idea of moving at the time. But I wrote the book, and 2 or 3 years later, an opening came up, and the book was clearly a key issue when it came to making that move.
Well, I think anyone working in IT today, the thing to remember is the sky's the limit. As Barack Obama would say, believe in yourself, go for it. Anything is possible.
Well, I can give you some ideas on getting ahead, but I think they're basically to do with hard work and trying to keep a high quality of work. I think in my life, doing volunteer activity through BCS and other professional bodies has been quite important to me.
Well, that just about rounds up our episode on Getting Ahead. Thanks to everybody who took part in this video podcast, and please do look out for the next episode, which will be available very soon.